My name is Jack Pendleton, and today I have the pleasure of telling you the story of Israel.
If you will it, it is no drink.
And what does Israel mean to you?
We did tons of
Jews giving us like this.
This is my first time going to Israel.
Not only does he create
I suppose we should begin in a place that couldn't be more different than Israel. Sammamish, Washington, my hometown. The forest behind my house. It's prettier in the springtime than it is now in the winter, but even still, there's a magic to this forest. I've spent hours with these trees. I've asked them hundreds of questions, and of course, they don't say anything back, but something in me knows they have provided all the answers I could ever need. These trees, just like my time in Sammamish, have provided necessary silence. Nobody has ever told me which path to choose, which decision to make, but something has guided me to where I am now. Sammamish is a town of 67,000, filled with tech geniuses, high-achieving schools, and enough granola activities to keep a guy like me happy. What it's not filled with, however, is Jews. Out of those 67,000, just 0.8%, or about 500 individuals, are Jewish. And one of those is me. And even then, it wasn't until 10 months ago that I really felt Jewish. As I can see it, it's clear. It's hard to be Jewish if you haven't any friends who are Jewish either. And so to understand what it means to be a Jew in a place with no Jews, I went to go speak with Rabbi Barry Farkash, who runs Chabad of the Central Cascades. It's all of 15 minutes from my house, and it wasn't until now, at the age of 20, that I knew this place existed.
There is an awakening. There is an awakening going on among everyone. There is an awakening where people are searching and seeking spiritual connection. Where there's people like you, wonderful, young, enthusiastic, people with very good upbringings and hearts full of love, are looking for connection, looking for spiritual connection. Where do I belong? Where's my father from? Where's my mother from? What does it mean for me just belonging to a sports team or belonging to some form of a club doesn't really answer that longing. It's a longing.
Sure.
Now, when you're going to go to Israel soon, and you're going to step into a place where you're going to see authentic history.
Yeah.
You're going to see places where your tour guides are going to tell you this is where King David stood. This is where the Jews, when they came to Israel, this is where they entered from. This is where they fought their wars. This is where the Hanukkah story happened. Something is going to happen to you in your heart.
Yeah.
You're going to get emotional.
Someone recently called me a late blooming Jew. I think this definition is perfect. It's not that I never knew I was Jewish or that we never recognized our Jewish heritage. It simply didn't have an importance in my life. This realization or newfound connection, whatever you want to call it, it took me 20 years to figure it out. But here I sit, having found a way to connect myself to something much bigger than just me, and immerse myself in a community and a culture that has already made a vast impact on my life. It was September of last year that a new face popped into my life. Lidar Aini. As the weeks went by, I got to know him better, the least of which being how to actually pronounce his name. And the more I spoke with him, the more I heard him talk about Israel. He told me about birthright, which I'd heard of before, and on its face seemed like a free trip to a country that I'd yet to visit. Let's just say it ended up being a whole lot more than just a free trip. It started with that sunrise. We had arrived in the night, and it wasn't until I look over the Sea of Galilee as the sun is rising over the fog that's rolling in that I realized it. I was in Israel. We headed up north to the city of Pendleton, a storied place that dates back over 6,000 years.
If you want to believe the story, right? And if you believe the archaeology. We're standing at the very gateway to the entrance of the moment that Abraham entered, right? And essentially started his journey. This was the moment where he came in and said, okay, now everything's going to be different. Now I'm in my land, and I'm owning my new ideological and religious beliefs, and I'm gonna establish myself here. This is the entryway into the beginning of the story of a monotheistic idea being established in the land of Israel.
Abraham is believed to be the first Jew. It is believed that God put out a calling for everyone to go out, to experience adventure and everything that comes along with it. Abraham was the only one who listened, and eventually ended up not just in Israel, but in Pendleton, where the monotheistic ideology was born. Judaism as it stands today was born at this gate, amongst these ruins we walked through.
I've been waiting for 10 years for this because it doesn't exist in America.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Anything what the argument? 7 shalom out of 10 shalom.
On day 2, I had a couple extra people join me for sunrise. It was beautiful and cold and a pleasure to share with others. We ventured north once again to the town of Tzfat. It sits slightly higher in elevation, and if it had to be connected with an element, Tzfat would be connected with the air. Its residents, comprised of more observant conservative Jews, have a light and spiritual way about them. For me, Tzfat ended up being one of the most impactful places we visited, and there's 2 reasons for that.
Alright, this is my cat. Its name is Pickles. I just met it, and it really likes me, so I think I might bring it home.
We're going.
Come on, into the cave.
We have to be really cool.
We're gonna sing a song.
Sing a song.
So, you're going to repeat after me. Half the song is in English, half the song is in Hebrew. Just say whatever you hear, sing whatever you hear. And as we sing together, think about what it means. and engage with people, and are inspired by a purpose of doing good in the world, making the world a better place. How much more powerful that is when we leave our caves and can be together and work together. Olam chesed yibane, yanana, 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 yanana. Your turn. Olam chesed yibane, yanana, yanana, yanana. I shall build this world from love. Yanana, 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 yanana. I shall build this world from love. Yanana, 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 yanana. And you shall build this world from love. Yanana, 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 yanana. Then God will build this world from love. Yanana, 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 yanana. Then God will build this world from love. Yanana, yanana, yanana. Olam chesed yibane. Yanana, 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 yanana. Olam chesed yibane. Yanana, yanana, yanana. Olam chesed yibane. Yanana, 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 yanana.
It wasn't until I ended that clip and put my camera down that I finally had a chance to reflect. With 40 souls surrounding me and the candle flickering down, the silence of the cave, once we finished our song, resonated within me. It helped me realize that I love to travel, and I've always loved to travel, but the reason why I love to travel isn't the cool places and the pictures I get to take and the videos, all of that. Those are cherries on top. The real reason I love to travel is because of the people. In that cave, surrounded by 40 people who had been mere strangers just 2 days before, that's when I started to feel the community. I was with my people. We all had a conversation the night before about an addition to our group that would have been happening the following day. 8 Israeli soldiers in the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, who would be traveling with us for the next 5 days. I won't speak for everybody, but I think many of us had a similar experience where this was one of the few things we had expectations for, and it couldn't have been more wrong. Going into the trip, I thought that they would serve as propaganda points, as ways for Israel to try to get us to join the IDF or become Israeli citizens. Truly could not have been more wrong.
The fact that they were our age, I think really opened everything up for us. It really made everything so special. Even though we are the same age, we've all had such very different experiences in our lives. And I think that was probably the most profound thing for me, is that we can be the same age, we can have been born at the same time and just have such complete differences in our lives. It's wild. And they really were amazing for us on this trip. I actually think that they are a major security blanket, at least for me. Having them made me feel safe. Everything they've done is just truly amazing for us, and I will never forget it.
I mean, talking to Yuval and talking to him more and more, I realize it just like, I mean, this is a guy that I have a genuine connection with, and I hope it's a very mutual thing, but I love the guy. Like, it's a very, like, older brother figure to me, mentor type of figure, even though he's 2 years older than me. I think I have a lot to learn from him, and I love talking with him, and just, I felt really close to him.
I do think it's definitely mutual.
The soldiers helped turn the trip from being a tour around Israel to a feeling of being shown around someone's hometown.
And we're waiting outside the store for everyone to come out, and she comes with this like box of sweets, and she's like handing it to us like our mom, but she's like our age, and it's like all these little like chocolate thingies with ice cream inside, and she's handing them out, and she's like, take it, take it, take it. I'll just always remember her standing there like just like a beacon of light. It felt like, I know she was just giving us like chocolate, but it felt like she was giving us like her love.
Mika is a 19-year-old soldier on the Gaza Strip. Roe, an intelligence officer who's 20, my age, but with the maturity of someone who must be 10 years older. Daniel, who calls me his American boyfriend, a filmmaker for the IDF, someone who has the same passions and interests that I do, and just happened to grow up on the other side of the world. There's a misconception that if you live in Israel, you must be some sort of super Jew. They're just humans. Humans with different experiences than someone like me, but at the core, we are the same. The next day had to be the most powerful for me. We visited Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial. At the end of the trip, we shared 3 things. Everybody shared these 3 things. What was in your backpack, so what you were taking home with you. What was in your trash bag, so what you were leaving behind. And finally, what was in your laundry bag? What were you still thinking about? My answer to this question came in Yad Vashem. And as we look at these clips, I'd like to share with you what I shared with the group.
I get to physically bring home 5 or 6 terabytes of video from this trip. And that means a lot to me. My camera is how I lock in and how I connect to the world and with others. It doesn't end here, which that means a lot to me, to be able to have this to look back on for years to come, and hopefully do better than I could with words in describing to friends and family back home what Israel is and what Israel looks like. And along with that, what I hope to leave here is a little bit of ignorance, what my preconceived notions and misconceptions of what I thought the country would look like, what the people would be like. And I knew, and I still believe in the fact that there are extreme differences between the culture and life that someone like me or someone like Roe might have. But the importance of those differences, I think, has a different meaning to me now. I've cried a lot, and I realized it in Yad Vashem, where I was unable to control the emotion that I was feeling. It wasn't sadness that was filling my body, but it was an overwhelming sense of love and connection with a group that I had never had the chance to connect with before. So that inspires me to continue going and to keep connecting. And so I'm
architecture inside the building is fascinating. You step in and immediately see images of what it looked like to be a Jew before the Holocaust. Life, just what life looked like. And you turn and see the ceiling arched high above you, a little bit of light coming in. And at the end of the museum, of the memorial, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Where we stood then and where we stand now as a society, we can see that light. We know that there was an end for the Jews, that the Holocaust was a temporary pain, and at the end of it there was light. But during the Holocaust, there was no light. And so the memorial guides you through these rooms, filled with pictures, songs, voices, and stories of Jews from the Holocaust. In these rooms, there's no light. You can't see the sun. And instead you learn what it looked like, what it sounded like, and most importantly, what it felt like to be put into a ghetto and then into a camp. The final room is filled with thousands of books. Thousands. There's shelf upon shelf extending dozens of feet above and below the platform that we stood on. In each of those books, there is nothing but names. Some of the shelves are still empty because not all the names have been collected. But in that room, we had the opportunity to stand and remember 3 of the 6 million who died in the Holocaust.
Because of my sisters and friends, please let me ask, won't you please let me sing peace to you. This is the house of the Lord. I wish the best for you. This is the house of the
Not only does he create the
Mama,
their great age, and the squares of the city of Jerusalem shall be crowded with boys and girls who are playing in the squares. My friends,
Like you.
my friends, you have just witnessed and physically lived out ancient Jewish prophecy.
We had one more day with the Israelis. We started it before sunrise naturally and climbed Mount Masada, a holy place for Jews.
When I interact with anybody else who is a Jew, I know that that is my home and those are my people. I feel like everybody in this group I've met now for the second time, and that at some point we all knew each other once before. Can I express in more words how deep my gratitude lies.
How many shaloms out of 10?
Oh, like 5.
5?
My nipples really hurt.
Go again, go again. Yummy?
Very spicy.
Just as the sun fell beneath the horizon, the Israelis left us.
I remember us just couldn't hold it anymore. Like, it was very emotional to us. A moment that I will never forget.
All Israel, all soldiers, everyone is one big family.
It was like the most connection that I felt ever.
There was a happiness to our time in Tel Aviv. Every morning we would start with an hour drive from Netanya, the beach town where we were staying. Spirits were high. The 40 of us had bonded and were soaking up every last second of our time in the country.
What's up? I am from Israel. My name is Yali and I'm gonna explain to do
You got it, Gabe.
special thing about this group, that you feel the supportiveness of the group. You feel like the good eyes. You feel that people are feeling safe, basically. And it's a really cool thing to see.
If you told me this story a year ago, told me how I'd have this experience and they would be as impactful and powerful as it was, I'd find it hard to believe. I had yet to find my home and my place in this story that is Judaism. Israel is now only the beginning. It's the first of a number of stories that I want to be telling about the people that we share this planet with. I spent 10 days in a country with people who I never would have had the chance to meet before. 10 days in which I found love in so many different ways. Ten days in which I found home. That was Israel.
There's a pull to coming here and to living it and experiencing it and creating your own story within it. I want to come back. I want to live here. I don't know if I want to serve. I don't know if I want to be religious, but I'm being pulled. I don't know why. It's just something internal, and I like it. Confused by it, but I like it.
Yeah, Tech Lead's been very good for that. It's reconnected me with Jewish people in ways that I didn't realize we all had bonds that were so much deeper than just surface level.
I think it was really special to be able to be a part of a community and kind of experience a Jewish community for the first time, who has supported me and uplifted me and accepted me for who I am. And that kind of made Israel feel a little like a home.
So what sticks with me 3 weeks later? If I have to be honest, every single second of that trip. But the things that stick with me the most are the people. When you feel loved, you feel at home.
Got there as strangers and went out of it as family.
The things that you love are what makes you feel at home. I think love is anything that's worth fighting for. If you're gonna fight for something and you don't think you love it, then I think you actually do.
We were together for, 2 weeks? Not even 2 weeks. And the connections that we made are just some of the best I think I've ever had. And it's so meaningful that everybody cares so much about being together and being Jewish together in this community.
Beautiful opportunity to meet all of these people, all of you people that have just changed my whole narrative and how I connect with Judaism and Jewish people.
Love is crazy. It's just a feeling that like takes up your whole body, and it's something that we all share, and I think it connects us in a lot of ways.
It's a feeling that you can't really describe because there's multiple ways to love.
To invite people to my home, but also feel like they always belong there.